This is Rob Christ, and I'd like to tell you why the Lord's Prayer is way more badass than you think it is. It really is a demand for intimacy and simplicity. In Matthew, Jesus says, "And whenever you pray, don't be like the hypocrites, for they love to pray standing in the synagogues and on the street corners to be seen by others." He also says, "Don't go on babbling, for the Father knows what you need even before you ask." So instead, Jesus implores his disciples to cry out to God in private. And the prayer is literally a list of demands from God's people, meaning us, to the Father. And in Greek, that's what you hear. It's a list of demands, of imperatives. The prayer is much more like the rawness of the Psalms than in the reverential way that we ordinarily say it in church. So it's a simple and demanding prayer in a way that we never say in church. And as we go through line by line, you'll see why. Our Father who is in heaven, Pater hemon ha en tois uranois, or literally, our Father who in the heavens. Now, the traditional way of looking at this is God is our Father and he resides in heaven, somewhere over there. God is on the throne, is how we traditionally think of it, and we acknowledge his presence there. But the badass way of looking at this is, you are our Father, and we want you to do things for us. Don't be distant. Don't be over there. We want you, God, to be here with us. Hallowed be your name. Agiastheto ta onamasu. Let your name be sanctified. Now, the traditional way of looking at this is, your name is already holy, God, or sanctified or consecrated. And Hagias Theto, though, is a different kind of word. It's actually an imperative. Yeah, it says that, hey, God, you're sanctified or consecrated, but it's more like, make your name be sanctified. Make your name be special. Don't let people take you lightly or misuse your name. It has much more of an imperative, imploring feeling to it in the Greek. Your kingdom come. Eltheto he basiliasu. Now, and this also literally means let your kingdom come. Now, this is not an imperative. It's actually a subjunctive, which is more of a wish. Eltheto is more of a wish. So, but the traditional way of looking at this is that God's kingdom will come. When really it's more of a, we want your kingdom to come here. We want it to be made real. Don't wait. We need you to set things right now. Your will be done. Genetheto ta thelamasu. Let your will be done. Now, in this case, we're back to the imperative, so this is more of a demand. Now, the traditional view, however, is your will is to be done. But the badass view is make your will be done. Stop the cruelty and the pain and the madness around us. No, come to us. And that's really the tone of this imperative. On earth as it is in heaven. Hos en urano kai epiges. As in heaven, also on earth. Now, the traditional way of looking at this is, well, God, let things that happen here on earth happen like they do in heaven. But when you look at it as an imperative, when you look at it with the lines before it, it's really more like, make heaven be on earth. Don't let these things just stay in your realm over there. Make them happen here. And that's much more of the tone of these lines. Give us this day our daily bread. Tan artan hemon tan epiusion das hemen semeran. Literally, our daily bread give to us today, or give us today. And the traditional view is, well, give us what we need to live today. But with the imperative, das is an imperative, give us what you promised us again today. You made a promise to us throughout the Old Testament. You made it to your people that you would give us your daily bread. Fulfill your promise, God. Feed us with that sense of urgency. And forgive us our debts. Kai ephes hemen ta ophilemata hemon. And take away from us our debts. The traditional view is forgive our sins. And in fact, the Lord's Prayer has many versions of where, forgive our sins, forgive our trespasses, forgive our debts. Well, in the Greek, it's debts. Ophelemata means debt or obligation or things that we need to do. So the badass view of this is be merciful and take our debts away. And the debts that we have to you, take them away. Remove the obligations that we can never pay. As we have also forgiven our debtors. Hos kai hemes afekamen tois opheletes hemon. As we also take away for our debtors. Now, the traditional view is it's a bargain. In order to be forgiven, we should also forgive those who sinned against us. That makes perfect sense. But the sense of this in the imperative is much more like, we have taken away the debts of those who owe us. And it's a deal. We have removed the debts from the people around us while you remove the debts from us, the debts to you from us. So God, we are keeping up our end of the bargain if you keep up your end of the bargain. And bring us not into temptation. Kai me esenikes hemas es perasmon. And do not bring us into a trial. So this is a little more problematic because the word perasmon actually means many things, not just temptation, but it could be a trial, it could be a time of proving, it could be any one of these tests like that. So the traditional view is keep those temptations away from us so we don't sin anymore. It's about us. But in reality, it's like, no, God, don't test us. Don't bring us into a time of having to prove ourselves. Keep us from accumulating more debt to you. But deliver us from evil. Now, this one's actually a little bit closer to the Greek. Allah ruse hemas apa tu peneru. But rescue us from the evil one. Now, the traditional way of looking at this is protect us from doing evil. But the badass way of looking at this is rescue us from the evil one. Now, of course, this could be Satan. This could be evil people. This could be evil thoughts, evil things, or bad things happening to us. The real meaning of this is more like, don't let the evil forces around us overwhelm us. For yours is the kingdom, or thine is the kingdom, and the power and the glory forever. No, this does not exist. It was added much later. The traditional view is that this is a doxology that declares the sovereignty of God. And there's nothing wrong with doxologies. They are throughout the Bible. But it doesn't belong in this prayer because it wasn't there. It was really added much later. So from the badass point of view, this triumphalist stuff, this imperial stuff, was added by Protestants to the biblical version. and it serves kind of an insidious purpose. It separates us from God, and it's out of the step with the rest of the prayer and its intimacy and its personal nature. And so, like I said, doxologies are fine and good, but this is not what is in Jesus' words in Matthew. So the message of all of this together is pray like you mean it. Jesus exhorts us to pray with urgency and intimacy. And the Lord's Prayer contains 6 imperative verbs. Those are 6 demanding verbs, telling the Father what to do. This is us pleading with the Father, do these things for us. And it's really amazing when you think about it that Jesus asks us to pray this way with our Father, to demand these things. Everything about the prayer sounds like a son or a daughter talking to a parent. Now, it turns out that the prayer is entirely in the plural, so it's always about us instead of me, but it's about us as a people asking our Father to do stuff. Jesus contrasts that high and mighty prayers of the Pharisees, the hands folded and looking up to God, and those meaningless prayers of the Gentiles, ones filled with words and nice things to say, instead with this genuine, simple conversation with God the Father. And my final word of advice here is don't let that last line of the traditional Protestant Lord's Prayer get in the way of your intimacy with God. Don't let that last line put God back on a throne in a faraway heaven. Instead, it's fine to have a doxology there, but remember, this is an intimate prayer for you and me, for us to call on God. And with this, blessings to you. Amen.